Hello, you guys. It is finally here, and I can finally talk about it, the MXR Bass Synth. Now, I have to say, when Dunlop approached me to collaborate with MXR on doing a synth pedal, I was super nervous. I own almost all of the synth pedals there are for bass out there, and I have found them to always have some kind of flaw, either in their immediacy, they always feel sort of latent, or if they feel immediate, the tracking is terrible, and sometimes you have to plug them into your phone or your laptop to dig into all the features, and that can be a drag. So over the years, I have tended to make synth sounds either with individual pedals or with blocks in a multi-effects unit, and while those sounds can be super cool and get close to legit synth sounds, this gets closer, and in some cases, even totally indistinguishable from an incredible keys rig. So they send me over a prototype. I have it right here. This is the first prototype, and it doesn't look too different from where it ended up, right? 6 knobs, 2 buttons, a switch. We added presets on the production model, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I looked at it and thought, plugged it in, and I was totally blown away. I got lost in just playing with the filter. I'll show you that in just a minute. It was so good so soon, and I knew that I had to be involved because I would have bought it. Like, I was like, oh, I want to buy this. I need this to exist for me, for you, the bass community. So I signed on, and over the next year and a half, we worked tirelessly to make this thing as perfect as we possibly could, to tweak every single parameter, to get every aspect of how the knobs turned, what effects that they controlled. We got it just right, and especially the latency and tracking. I wouldn't relent until we got it perfect. This is perfect. It's actually delightfully easy to use. You've got an in, you've got an out, you have a foot switch, you have the preset button here, which we'll talk about in a bit. You have a control on the side that can either be for an expression pedal or to run it in stereo. And then you just have the 6 knobs and 2 buttons. It just means that you can plug in, start turning knobs, and make incredibly cool sounds immediately. We got it just right. The incredible combination of almost 0 latency and incredible tracking. That is a balance. It feels immediate and even tracks ghost notes. There are so many pedals that make the ghost notes up just sort of like a random pitch, but this one doesn't. Something else about this pedal that's so cool is it really recognizes when you're playing like 2 notes that you're articulating or a hammer-on. And it does like a gliss to that note. Boom, like it doesn't go ba-da at the end. Or if I slide, it doesn't re-articulate that note, and it just makes it sound, I don't know, more human in a way. Okay, so that's the big picture, but let's just go for it and dive into the sounds. Now, later on in the video, I'll show you what all the knobs do. We'll dive into the nitty-gritty, but right now, I want to take you through the 8 presets that come factory loaded in this pedal that I programmed and painstakingly recreated an homage to some of my favorite synth bass lines of all time. And I think if you use them, it's going to help you hit those targets right in the bullseye. Push that preset button. The first green light lights up, and enjoy my homage to the great Greg Phillinganes and Anthony Marinelli's work on Thriller. It's the best! This sound, it's worth the price of admission for me. Short envelope with the octave oscillator, a little bit of chorus, and a little bit of noise blended in. And and you get this like mini Moog, Arp Odyssey, 70s, 80s sound. And this sound is a huge part of what gave that thumbprint identity to some of those early Michael and Quincy jams like PYT. It also shows up in more modern pop production that aims to do a throwback, like it does a great Bruno. It is also so awesome at nailing that retro future nostalgia feeling of like, God, have I heard this in the 80s? But somehow it feels like modern. This sound, to me, is worth the price of the entire pedal, but we're not done. Now, Green 2 is similar to Green 1, but it doesn't require that you play it like an octave pedal. There is no sub-oscillator. There's a little bit of voice button in there, so there's some upper harmonic content. It's a little bit more resonant. It's trying to emulate Stevie Wonder's Tonto vibe on Boogie on Reggae Woman. Clicking on over to Green 3. I have always wanted to get this ARP sound from Herbie Hancock. This has been a white whale of mine forever. It's really hard to do with pedals, like with, you know, an octave pedal into a fuzz, into an envelope. That's always how I tried to do it, and it never gets quite right. This is so nice, right? And the pedal is so responsive that if you play it all legato, but if you play it short, it will do it, right? It does what your hands do. Even those ghost notes. What a fun sound. It's a very resonant, peaky filter with that sawtooth wave. It's a classic. And finishing out the green side, green number 4, I would never forget about Bernie Worrell. This is Parliament's Flashlight. Synth bass is so fun. I will die on this hill. Let's move it over into the red territory. Now, if green was funky, red gets a little more poppy and rock driven. We got to start it out with the GOAT. Tony Levin's tone on Sledgehammer is so legendary. And I know it's not technically key bass. It was electric bass, fretless bass, played with a pick, played through an OC2 with chorus and a ton of compression, and I have emulated that sound in the MXR Bass Synth. Check it out. This sound is absolutely incredible. It's one of my favorite electric bass sounds of all time, and it was so fun to try to recreate it, right? So I've just got the triangle wave, right, as an octaver, essentially. Then I have a bit of modulation, adding that chorus, and I have a secondary function cranked up, which is the compression. Now, I'm not playing a Stingray, right? I'm not playing a fretless, but I am playing it with a pick, and it gets that vibe. Next up, Red 2 is my homage to the incredible Icelandic avant pop queen, Björk. This is a super fun amp envelope, just slow mover that emulates this incredible bass line for Army of Me. Isn't that so fun how that sound, due to that amp envelope, slight portamento glide as well. Just like another incredible sound that this pedal can make. All right, it's time to switch over to Red 3 and switch over to my 5-string, play some classic 9-inch Nails. Man, and so you add noise into a sound like this. This is a generous bit of that noise oscillator, or that noise generator rather, with the voice button selected, right? And there's no sub oscillator. And because we're in 5-string mode, we can play that low D with no problem, and just check out how well this pedal deals with like pull-offs on the low E. There are so many synth pedals. If you played, there's no way that it's gonna track that, right? Like pulling to that. But it does. And last but certainly not least, we're going to switch over to Red 4, and it's going to give us this awesome side chaining sound up from the depths, which is going to be perfect for EDM because it lets the kick drum just smash, right? Because it doesn't give you attack right at the top of your hit. It rises in. This is called a sidechain effect, right? Where it's not actually attached to the kick drum, but what I do is I play right on the downbeat with the kick drum, and this sound rises. I don't know what else to say. It's the most fun that I think I've ever had with a pedal, and I haven't even really scratched the surface. But there's so much you can do. You pull it out of the box, you can use all the presets as I just showed you. You can turn it into manual mode, just click it off of the presets, start to play with the controls yourself, start making music, start finding your favorite sounds, start finding sounds that you didn't know you loved. That's why gear matters. It inspires you to either play something you love, or it inspires you to find something inside of you that you didn't even know existed and that you didn't know you were going to fall in love with. That's what great gear does. So let's dive into the layout and controls. We have a mix knob that blends between your clean bass and the first oscillator that's in unison with your bass. Then the other orange knob here is a sub mix that blends in a sub oscillator. Then we have the cutoff, which is like a frequency cutoff. Then we have the resonance control that affects the peak at that point of cutoff. Top right is the envelope control that is dual purpose. This is so amazing. Below noon, it drops, right? It drops the filter, but when you get it above noon, it opens the filter. And just below that, we have the mod knob that defaults to chorus. And as you turn it up, it increases the amount and the rate. Can get totally crazy. And if you want, you can change this in a secondary function to be an LFO. As for the buttons on top, we have a shape button that chooses between 3 waveforms, either a triangle, a saw, or a square wave. And then over here, we have the voice control that activates upper oscillators that, especially when you have the cutoff turned up, you really hear this extra harmonic content up high. But the great news is you never have to plug it into your phone or your laptop. It's all right here for you. So let's do this. I'm gonna start with every knob off except for the top left orange knob. I'm gonna turn that one all the way up. That's gonna give me just the synth oscillator. I'm gonna leave the voice button off. I'm gonna turn the wave selector to the red square wave. Now, if all of those other knobs are turned all the way down, we won't hear anything until we start to turn up the cutoff. I mean, and just there, I'm in heaven, just playing with one oscillator and the frequency cutoff knob. Are you kidding me? This is like Christmas. I mean, already. You have these cool sounds. And the amazing thing is, if you plug in an expression pedal, you can do all of this with your foot. Let's do this. Let's bring in the sub oscillator. So I turned that up about halfway. Whoo! Let's experiment a little bit with the cutoff. Now, with that cutoff, again, at about the halfway point, I'm gonna start to pull in some resonance, right? The filter is so fat, you guys. It sounds like a Moog, or it sounds like an ARP Odyssey. It's so fat. So that's the resonance just above halfway, and then sweeping that cutoff. Something that's amazing to do too is just turn the cutoff down quite far and the resonance up quite a bit. And then you get this just big, like resonant peak bass sound. Oh, turn the cutoff up. Turn it up more. Now, I'm gonna show you this envelope knob. The envelope knob works really well when the cutoff is a little lower. So I'm gonna take the cutoff and I'm gonna bump it down a little more from halfway. Now listen. Now if I turn that envelope up almost halfway, it's kind of like a slow drop. You can turn it down almost all the way and get these really super fast, like laser gun, classic synth bass sounds. Listen to this. And even if I just blend in a little bit of my clean bass, just listen to how this reacts and responds. Now, if I turn that envelope knob up past half, listen to what happens. Then it's opening and closing. Let's go down to the modulation knob. This is so fun. If I just introduce it a little bit, you hear the whole sound gets wide. Let's take the envelope and just even turn it all the way off. Turn the cutoff up a bit. And the modulation just makes it sound so great. If I turn the modulation off, straight down the center, but the mod like detunes it a little, right? It almost feels like two oscillators that are slightly out of tune. If I turn it up, the rate gets faster. Woo! Now, while I have a big bright sound like that, let's turn on the voice control. That's gonna activate these upper harmonics in an oscillator. Listen to this. So without it, with it, and you really hear it if I crank up the cutoff. And I haven't even changed any of the wave shapes. I love, truth be told, I love this red square wave. But listen, then you can completely change the character of the oscillators by changing the wave shape. So I have this big, huge, wide sound, right? But if I change it to the triangle wave, this one has huge bottom end. Great for like making a sub sound, taking the cutoff, turning it way down. What are you listening to this on? If it's a sub, let me know in the comments. If it's just shaking your house, your car, your headphones, listen to that. That's the triangle wave. Okay, let's change it to the sawtooth. Classic sound. And if all that wasn't enough, honorable mention to the secondary functions that you can access by holding one of the buttons at the top and turning a knob. You have access to more parameters inside, tracking modes. You've got 4-string, 5-string, and guitar. Don't worry, guitar players, we didn't forget about you. Right now, I'm in the 4-string mode, which is the fastest, right? It's the least latent because it's controlling the range. I believe it's set up to only include the notes of a 4-string bass guitar, low E, to, I believe, a 24 fret G. Past that, the tracking could get a little squirrely, but I'll put it in 5-string mode. I've got a 5-string right here. Come on, let's do it. Let's check out the 5-string mode and I'll show you how it will track all the way down to a low B. It will just hang on to that low B. How sick is that? Hey! You also have access to things like glide or portamento, amp envelope, modulation blend, whether you want chorus or to blend into LFO, compression, output gain of the entire pedal, noise mix. This has a noise generator inside of it, the sensitivity, or even choosing whether you want your dry bass to go through all of the stuff like the cutoff, like the resonance, like the modulation, or just having your bass completely dry. all of those things you can access in the secondary functions. But you don't need to, right? You heard me dig into just those top 6 knobs and 2 buttons. I have one plugged in right here, and I didn't access any of the secondary functions. Another incredible thing about the MXR Bass Synth is you take a TRS cable, plug it into the control jack on the left side of the pedal, plug it into an expression pedal, and now you can control any of these parameters. And all you need to do is when it's at heel, set the knobs the way you want, then push it to toe, set the knobs the way you want. So I'm gonna go for a really extreme thing here, right? So what if I move it to something like this? Now, it's gonna have the same it's gonna have the same sound on the heel. But now listen. How cool is that, right? So all I did is I cranked up the envelope a little bit. Of course, I cranked up the cutoff. I cranked up the mod so that when you play a note at heel, it's that great, my favorite preset. But then when you push the pedal, stuff gets crazy, and you can absolutely control any parameter you want with an expression pedal all at your feet. This pedal is outrageous. So who is this pedal for? Who isn't it for? It's for everyone. If you have a wedding gig that you have to play like top 40 synth sounds, it's for you. If you play in church, either like a gospel style or a CCM style, this is gonna come in so handy. If you play in a band and you endeavor to make cool sounds, this is for you. If you do sessions, you know who else it's for? It's for you if you don't want to carry your synth rig around with you anymore. You've got that mini Moog in a case that you're flying everywhere. Why not give this a try? It might just dethrone your keys rig.